I think that you can really make your own choices about it. I've never really felt pressure to drink when I've been in really any situation at Rice. And one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we have people who drink and people who don't drink. And you can go to any of the parties. One of my favorite parties of the year is the Sid 80s party. And with that, it really allows you, there's a live band, you can go dance, be with your friends, and you really don't even have to drink or do anything to really enjoy yourself at that. And one of my best friends doesn't drink at all, and he and his girlfriend actually go to all the parties. They go up to 7th at Sid, they do all those things, and they don't drink, but they go up there, if they play pong, they'll play with root beer or something, and they just really have a good time. So I don't think there's a lot of pressure to drink, and I think that's one of the really incredible things about our drinking culture is that there's not a ton of pressure to do it.
So we're good?
It sounds like the battery's out.
Or filming. That was good, by the way. Thank you.
No worries.
What does it sound like?
Yeah, I hate sound recorded. I despise being recorded.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Oh, hi, are you for a week filming?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, we're actually stoning at him, but
That's all good.
if you want to like sit down or whatever.
Sure.
You can listen to my really awkward answers, it'll be
It's
great.
okay if I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to say. Alright, what else?
Alright, Elsa, we're good to go?
Oh, no. Let's try another battery.
Okay. That sounds like a lot.
Okay, first rule is the same. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you cool with all of
Yeah,
this? Okay.
Just answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there are any like answers that you would say at the end, just like you don't want, just let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? So, what is your opinion? Yeah. Okay. What is your opinion of the drinking atmosphere at Rice?
I would probably say there's like a kind of spectrum. There are people who drink all the time and intend to drink in order to get drunk. And then there's people who will drink every once in a while, just kind of like relaxing with their friends and like watching a movie or something. And then people who just choose not to drink at all. And everyone, I mean, I have friends on all stages of the spectrum, so you can have friends who do everything. It's not complete like social segregation based off of your drinking habits, but
Okay. And then when you got to Rice, how did you first reach out and make friends here?
for me it was pretty easy. I ended up bonding really well with my roommate, and we were both a part of the mob, and we reached out through there, and then we just got to know a bunch of different people through different activities that we joined, and basically some of their friends became my friends, and some people that I met, their personalities matched better with my roommates, and that's just kind of how my circle of friends kind of developed.
But did you feel like it came fairly naturally?
It's everyone is kind of thrown in at the same time, and everyone's kind of looking to make new friends. So pretty much people are really open to talking, getting to know each other, and to help form friendships.
Okay. So to bring up the awkward question, what is sex like at Rice? Do you feel like there's any pressure to be sexually active on campus?
Probably not sexually, no pressure to really be sexually active, but more like sexually aware, and it's a great time to explore that, whether you intend to have sex during your time at Rice or not, just learning and getting information about sex and what is considered consensual sex, and how to maintain like a healthy relationship when sex is involved, and how to have safe sex practices mostly.
So, are there resources on campus for students to practice safe sex?
Definitely. The Wellness Center offers a lot of tools. They will have like classes over different forms of contraception, what defines a consensual relationship when it comes to sex. They have condoms and just like information about like knowing your status for sexually transmitted diseases, and just a lot of different things, and dealing with like the emotional side of sex, not just the physical side. The Women's Resource Center in the RMC, that's also a great one. They have a lot of information for women to help feel empowered when it comes to sex.
Okay. So we know what sex is like, but what about actual dating? What is like the dating life at Rice like?
Okay, so there are kind of two camps for that. There's people who date more casually, just kind of like go out for dinner and movies and maybe just hook up. And then there's people who get into a very long-term committed relationship and just date for a very, very long time. And it's either, it tends to be one or the other. There's not much middle ground, but it does exist. It just depends on the individuals.
So do you have like advice for freshmen who feel unsure about what dating is like or how they want to get involved?
Just be open, just meeting people, just talking, and see if there's a connection. Just see what their expectations are and what your expectations are, and just be honest about it. And if a hookup isn't good enough for you, don't necessarily settle for that. Just know your limits and know your comfortability. Know your levels of comfortability, whatever that word is. Comfortability. That one. Comfortability with your dating relationships.
Cool. So do you feel like there's any pressure to be in a relationship?
Not necessarily. I know some people like to be in a relationship. I'm in a long-term relationship, and it's really great, and I do see some of the advantages. When I'm just stressed, he's there and helps me relax and just takes my mind off of whatever homework or craziness that's going on. But some of my friends, they are very much loving the single life, like being able to do whatever without having to think about someone else, or it's just really up to you.
Okay. So do you think there's a pressure to feel or to look a certain way on campus? So is there pressure to like match a certain body type?
I don't think so. I know we encourage a lot to stay healthy, and that's mostly it. It's just being aware of like the nutritional options out there. We have the rec center, but I think people come in all shapes and sizes, and it's just being healthy with whatever you have.
But like it's acceptable to like look like, you know, anyway.
Yeah, you can look anyway. There's no pressure to get all dolled up and like makeup and hair done. It's like you can show up in jeans and a t-shirt and yeah, it's like jeans and a t-shirt and you're perfectly fine. There are some people who love getting like all dressed up, and it's like, oh, you're like, oh, go you, you're so awesome that you do that. I'm glad I don't do that. It's like some people just like to get all pretty every day. It's like, yay.
So how do you stay active at Rice then?
Like sports or like?
Yeah, or just like staying fit.
Oh, staying fit. Okay, I do a lot of dance. I did the Rice dance team. I've done college theater, and a lot of it will be, my roommate will meet me at the rec center, and we'll just do weights like once or twice a week, and she's like all benching like 1,000,000 pounds, and I'm like working on that 1 8 pound, and she's just laughing. But just making it fun. We'll just go to the racquetball court and just smack the ball. Like, we actually have no idea how to keep score or anything, but we just run around and hit it. It's just having fun with it. Really.
Oh yeah, I do love a racquetball courts,
Yes.
even though I also don't know how to play.
Yeah, I have no idea how to actually play, but I hit it. I think that counts.
Nice. Okay, so one last question. What do you think is the most common mental illness students face on campus, and what ways would you encourage them to like seek positive coping strategies?
Probably the most common thing would be like depression and just stress, honestly. Everyone gets it from some form, whether it's trying to become perfect, because we're all of our students, we're used to being some of the best at our schools, and when you're amongst a bunch of the best, you kind of start getting overwhelmed, and especially when you're not the top of the class anymore, and you're used to that your whole entire life, and it's just coping with that, and just coping with like being away from home, meeting new friends, just being in a completely different environment. It can kind of get overwhelming, and mostly it's just becoming comfortable with yourself, like knowing what you need to do. For me, it was like I needed a little bit of me time. I needed to get away from everyone. So I would go to the Nirvana sessions, which the Wellness Center has, and it's like 20 minutes in the RMC chapel, and you just sit there and you get to reflect on whatever it is. Sometimes just breathing and being in the moment. Sometimes it's just taking yourself out of the moment and feeling safe and calm. And so it's just kind of figuring out what your thing is and keeping up with it.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
That was awesome.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna skip this back. Okay. So when you were a freshman, how did you first make friends and reach out to people?
Well, at first I made some friends through my OweekClose group, and then at SID we actually went on a bunch of large freshman dinners where about 30 of us would go to Ruggles and hold up the entire restaurant, and it was a good way to kind of meet everybody at the college, and I think that was how we first got to know everybody within SID, and then eventually people started branching out into smaller friend groups. But even now, the current junior class at SID is still really, really close.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so how did you first feel about drinking when you got to Rice, and what do you think the drinking life is actually like?
So when I was in high school, I didn't drink at all, and I actually didn't drink for a while I was at Rice. And eventually I just kind of eased into the culture myself. It wasn't that I felt pressured to do so, it was just it was a decision that I decided to make for myself, and used as like a social outlet. I don't actually think there's pressure to drink on campus. There's certainly lots of people on campus who still choose not to, or who choose to do so in moderation, or there's also the students who tend to go hardcore multiple times throughout the week, and that's cool too. It's fine to just be who you are at Rice, which is really cool.
Okay, so do you feel like there's pressure to look a certain way at Rice? Is there an ideal body type, or?
I would not. I don't think so. The good thing about Rice is that there's so many people from different cultures and different backgrounds, and nobody quite looks the same. And I mean, in my high school, there was not a whole lot of diversity, and so it was nice to come here and see people of all different body types, and I don't think that there's any pressure by anybody to look a certain way.
That's good. Okay, so we're gonna bring up the awkward topic. What do you think sex is like at Rice, or do you feel like there's any pressure to be sexually active?
there's definitely, I would say, the hookup culture. Can't really avoid that topic, and I think it's kind of everywhere in colleges across the nation. But, I mean, a hookup can, on campus, you can say, oh, well, I hooked up with this guy last night at Bacchanalia. But that could mean anything from we kissed on the dance floor to had sex, and there's no, like, pressure to make that distinction, I guess. You're free to explore whatever options you have, and I think that as long as you're being safe, I mean, there's no real harm in it. What was the other part of the question?
Is the pressure to be sexually active?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's pressure to be sexually active. Just kind of like there's no real pressure to drink on campus. You can choose to be as like clean and abstinent as you want, or you can, you know, explore other options, and that's fine too. I mean, there's no clear pressure to participate in those kinds of activities, I guess.
Do we have resources on campus though if we want to be sexually active?
Okay, there are condoms all over campus. They're in all of the colleges, they're in the RMC, they're in health services, at the wellness center. So basically, everywhere you turn, there are condoms. So that's the first step. Also, I would say that like, the wellness center also offers some programs about like healthy sexuality. If you're interested in learning more about like different forms of contraception, they do offer some resources throughout the year. And probably most importantly, I think it's something that a lot of students forget, but there's also the health services, which offers STI and HIV testing. It's at usually much discounted, much lower rates than you can find at any other clinic around Houston. And so I definitely think that's something that if you choose to be sexually active, that's something that you take into consideration.
Okay. So we've talked about sex. What about just like actual dating at Rice? What do you think the dating life is?
Very all over the board. I mean, I did some like long-term relationships in high school, and I've not entered one since my 3 years in college. I've chosen to be single, and I'm like completely fine with that decision. Other people can like immediately get to Rice and fall into a relationship within the first week, and that's fine too. It's kind of all over the place, but one of the things is that college is very different than high school, in that in high school, whenever I dated people, like I still lived in my parents' homes, and how am I trying to say this? Like I still had like that separation from the other person,
Yeah.
but when you're in college, like you can,
Together.
you're here with them all the time. You can choose to spend as much time with them, like as humanly possible, which is very different. And it's very fast-paced. So I think when people enter like serious relationships in college, they move very fast.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. The last question I'm going to ask you is, so what do you think are the most common mental health issues that students face on campus are? And what can we do to encourage them to seek help? Like what positive coping strategies can they seek out on campus?
So I definitely think the biggest mental health issue would have to be stress. I don't think a lot of people characterize that as a mental health issue because so many people deal with it, but it definitely can be detrimental to your health. I mean, it happens across all boards. You can be stressed out with your extracurricular activities, with your actual schoolwork, with your social life. And I think it's really important to seek out strategies, seek out resources beyond your own coping strategies that you've employed. The Wellness Center actually offers some like time management courses. It's called Obligation Overload, and they offer that a few times every semester to kind of teach you how to like maintain all of these different activities in your life without being too overwhelmed. Also, it's worth talking to the counseling center if you think that it's negatively impacting your well-being over time. And lastly, you can always talk to academic advising. They're also really good at helping out with stress related to academics and your classes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Is
That
that
was all really great. Yeah, that's all. Okay, you good? Okay. So when you were a freshman here, how did you first reach out to people and make friends and get involved in like the social life at Rice?
OweekClose is great for getting
stressed, and like what do you do to manage your own stress?
To manage my own stress, like rice kids generally are really smart people, so we've gotten a way you can manage it. Just you have to relax about it a little bit and not freak out too much.
And how do you prioritize your time at Rice?
So